Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. We're looking at a grape that is very dominant in Spain. It's Tempranillo. It is the king of Spain, you could say, especially Rioja. We all have heard the name Rioja. In England they say Rioja, but Rioja, and they use a lot of Tempranillo in Rioja. In fact, when you drink a Rioja wine, it is dominantly Tempranillo. Now, occasionally they'll blend it with Graciano or Mezzuelo, which is also known as Carignan, sometimes Grenache, but basically it's Tempranillo. Ribera del Duero does Tempranillo. Castilla, Tempranillo. We're going to talk about all those areas, but we're going to get started right away. And it's interesting that it expresses itself different in different areas of Spain, which is really cool. And I really got a taste of that one time. We were doing a tasting, a speaker was talking about that, and we tasted a Rioja against a Ribera del Duero, and it was amazing how much different they were, even though it was the same grape. So, you know, you do Tempranillo, let's say in Washington State, you're going to get an entirely different, no matter how hard the winemaker tries, he's not going to be able to emulate Rioja. Because it's just, you know, the grape expresses the terroir and the winemaking styles of the people in that area, the winemakers in that area. So there you go. We're going to start off right away with the Rioja. And the reason I'm doing that is because Rioja tends to be a little more rustic, a little more old world in style. This is the Marquis de Marietta 2015 Reserva Finca Ygay Rioja. Now when we say Reserva, we mean $30. This is $30. What we mean is it has at least it ages for 3 years before release, at least minimum 1 year in oak and 6 months in bottle. So that's the requirement. They can leave it in oak longer if they want. When you have a Grand Reserva, you have a wine that is 2 years in oak, I believe 2 years in bottle, and so there you have it, and then 5 years until release. And Grand Reserva is not always made every year, whereas Reserva is made every year. Grand Reserva is, you know, depending on the vintage, they won't release it if it is not a great vintage. Well, but Reserva they'll release every year. So Marquis de Marietta, very well-known winery in Rioja. This is in Rioja Alta, which is on the west side of the La Rioja region. Rioja Alavesa is on the north side of the La Rioja region, and then also you have Rioja Oriental on the east side of the La Rioja region, which is where they do mostly Grenache. So let's get started right off with this 2015 Reserva. And like I said, I'm starting out with this one because Rioja tends to be a little more rustic. A lot of times they'll use American oak, which gives it kind of sort of a dill pickle sort of flavor. Boy, the color on this is crazy. This is like almost, wow, this is yeah, kind of a muddy dark color. I'll pull out the board, Kathy and Bob board. I hope this can show you, but I don't know if you can see this very well, but very, very kind of almost mucky in color, like, you know, a little bit muddy, but it's dark, a little brown on the edges, always showing a little bit of age. Hopefully you can see that. Let's see what we get on the nose. So we're looking at the Tempranillo grape and how it expresses itself different in different regions of Spain. Boy, this has like a really ripe dark currants. I'm getting leather, a little bit of tobacco on the nose. Very earthy too. I'm excited about this one because, you know, usually Grand Reserva kind of tends to be this way. This one has a little more currant. Dried currant for sure. I'm getting even a little bit of dried figs. Lots of leather on this one. Let's see what we get on the palate. I like that. This might have some French oak on it. Not getting the huge dill pickle They've kind of switched from using American oak a lot. Now they're switching over to French oak. This might have some French oak on it. I don't know, but it certainly seems to lean that way. The leather notes come through. You get a little bit of rust, which I like with an old world wine. It just has a rustiness to it. But this one has some nice balance, good acidity, nice fruit, some nice currant notes. The earth notes come through, a little bit of forest floor. A little bit of almost like a raisin characteristic right underneath. This is not off-putting. It's just barely there, kind of a raisin. We don't use those terms. They used to use prune and raisin a lot back in the day when they used to describe wines. They've kind of gotten away from that. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. I'm sure you guys understand this. I mean, yeah, we don't want raisins in our wine, but it has that kind of dried currant note thing coming through on that. Good acidity, nice balance. That rustiness, a little bit of leather as well. That's high quality Rioja right there, guys. Really good stuff. And it shows the old world, but yet you have enough of that fruit in it to attract a lot of people. It's $30, which I think is really a reasonable price for this wine. $30. I'm going to go straight up A on that. That is definitely a solid Rioja. Now, let's go to Ribera del Duero, now further west. And it is part of the Castilla and León, which is where we have this Castilla and León region, which is a huge region. We'll talk more about that next. But Ribera del Duero is a sub-region inside of the Castilla and León, which is a huge, huge, huge appellation. Kind of like Columbia Valley, you know. Then you have Rattlesnake Hills, you have Red Mountain. You get the idea. So this is Nexus. This is a 2015, also a 2015 Crianza Ribera del Duero from Nexus, and it is let's see, Frontara's winery. Nexus Ribera del Duero, Tempranillo, $27. So I went to Ribera del Duero, really cool area. The Duero is the river as it's known in Spain. In Portugal, it's called the Douro River. Duero, same river. Comes through there. Color on this is, well, a little bit fresher, you know, a little bit kind of, you know, reddish color to this one. That Murrieta was murky. This one's clear, reddish. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. There you go. I can see through it a little bit. Yeah, in fact, quite a bit. See what we get on the nose. Yeah, you definitely get the more fruit on the nose on this one. Very interesting, almost a smoky characteristic to it. I'm getting sort of a plum, cherry, currant thing going on with a little, just a touch of smoke coming through on this one. There's a little bit of earthiness on this one, maybe a little bit of forest floor, but it's fresh forest floor, not decayed earth. And a hint of tobacco. Let's see what we get on the palate. This will be interesting to see this. Ribera del Duero Tempranillo versus Rioja Tempranillo. Rioja Alta Tempranillo. So right off the bat, you know, just a smoother, same vintage, smoother, nice plum, cherry notes coming through on this one. The tannins are very approachable. You know, this is drinkable, really drinkable now. Really lasting kind of finish where the plum kind of currant cherry notes kind of hang on the back end of this one. Yeah, same grape, different expression. I love that about wine. I love that about terroir. I love that about regions. You can get so much out of different areas of the world when you're growing the same grape. It's very cool. It's one of the coolest things about the wine world that I really like. Ribera del Duero, Tempranillo, definitely a fruitier style, but very well built, structured wine. Just a touch of rust, but not as much as a Rioja. I think if you're introducing somebody to Spanish Tempranillo, this might be the way to go. It's $27. Yes, it's not cheap, but it's not expensive either. When I talk about expensive wines, and you can, I want to hear this in the comments. I know $27 is not cheap, but by the same token, you know, in my book, I love finding wine, as you know, under $20. Love it. But when you start getting up into the 40 plus, 50 plus range, that's when I'm talking expensive. Just saying. When you get 27, not so bad. I like that wine. Very, very good. Very well made. Solid wine. Lingering finish. I have to go A on that one as well. So we have two A wines right back to back. That's awesome. Love it. So you can, when you see a Ribera del Duero wine, you are more than likely to get Tempranillo. And if you want one that's really more approachable immediately, I think go Ribera del Duero Tempranillo. You'll be ready to drink right away. The Marietta right now is drinking really well. It's 2015. Like it. Now we're going to move on to a less expensive. This one's made with organic grapes. It's the 2021 Tridente Tempranillo. This rolls in at $19. Now, I've had this one at the store forever. Tridente Tempranillo. Now this is from Vino della Terra di Castiglione. Now Castiglione is a very interesting region. Castiglione. This is from the Juan Gil family. Castiglione, like I said, it's about 220 miles one way, 220 miles the other. It's a huge appellation. It actually connects Rioja to the border of Portugal. So it covers a lot of different appellations, sub-appellations. We already mentioned Ribera del Duero, there's Toro, there's Bierzo, there's Rueda. All of those very well-known sub-regions are inside Castiglione. So yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Columbia Valley. So this is Tempranillo, a little bit less money. This is a lot darker. I can immediately see that in the glass. Almost a purple-black color on this one. Let's see what we get on the nose. This is very earthy as well. Tobacco, blackberries. I get some cherry notes, even though there's a hint of smoke, but not a lot, not as much as on the Ribera del Duero. Getting a little plum, ripe plum on this one as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. Okay, now, I'm super excited. This has some spice on the backside. So, and it's an introductory Tempranillo. I think Tridente is an excellent, excellent wine. Very smooth, but nice plum, blackberry, and cherry notes on this one. A little bit of spice on the back end, which comes from maybe a little bit of oak on this one. It's a Crianza, I believe it's a Crianza. They don't really designate here that way. And that's why some of these wineries like to do Castiglione, because it doesn't have necessarily the rules of other areas. They can do a lot of things that they can't do, let's say in Rioja or maybe in Ribera del Duero. So they have more latitude in what they can do. This is made with organic grapes. I know a lot of you would appreciate that. I like the structure on this. There's just a little bit of grip on the backside. Good, well-made wine. I mean, solid wine, really. Wow. It's been a while since I've tried this. Super excited. I like this wine a lot. I like them all, really. But I'm going to go A on that one as well. This is a very good expression of Tempranillo for $20. It's an A wine. Absolutely punches above its weight class. Beautiful wine. All of these are beauties. But they all express it in a different way. They're all different, but made from the same grape, which is very, very cool. I'm a big proponent of terroir and different areas, And I know a lot of you are out there realize the terroir means something, and and the winemaking practices of these areas have a lot to do with the flavor profile. But this really delivers for the money. I like it a lot. I'm going to go straight up here. 3A wines in one episode. That doesn't happen very often. I really, really am excited about that. That's very cool. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. Please subscribe to my channel. Make comments on do you have a favorite Rioja? Do you have a favorite Tempranillo? Is there an area you like Tempranillo from? Have you tried them from different areas? Toro is another area that makes Tempranillo. Tinto de Toro, one of those synonyms of Tempranillo. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.